Welcome to Ironbark Lookout, or should I say, welcome to hell. Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well, and welcome back to another episode of Fears to Fathom. This is the 4th episode of this game, Ironbark Lookout. If you have been watching my last 2 videos, then you already know what this game is. But if you still don't have any idea, then go ahead and watch my previous videos of Fears to Fathom. You will have a clear idea about what this game is. Right now, I am having so much fun in this game. I can't wait to see what story is waiting for us in this episode. And if you like this video, be sure to press the like button. So, without talking too much, let's dive into this game. Fears to Fathom, Episode 4, Ironbark Lookout, May 12. Meet Jack Nelson. One day, he noticed a YouTuber playing Fears to Fathom Carson House. So, he thought it would be a great idea to share his story too. This happened when he was 24. He felt unsafe to tell the story to anyone because it contained extremely bizarre and absurd nature. Although, he still told it to us because he thought it would help him to process the memory again and ruin our day. Besides, he knew telling the story somewhere else would be a bad idea, because everyone would think he is lying. It was the scariest event of his life. He had a small job as a ranger in a state park. One day, he was transferred to one of the largest forests in the Pacific Northwest. He was very poor like me. With a lot of financial help from his dad, he bought a RV, which he used as a ride and living place. He used to like traveling, so he said a few goodbyes and started driving for 2 hours. Starting the game in the middle of the road, the first thing I did was stop the car and take a peek of the great indoors. When everything was fine, I started the engine and checked my contracts. There were 2 people, Mitch Scott and Kayla Nelson. I waited for their message before driving, so I don't get distracted from driving. But no one messaged, so I continued my driving. And when I was focused in driving, someone found the worst time to send me silly messages. So I completely ignored the messages and continued my driving until I reached my destination. After ignoring a lot of message, I gave up and read the message while I was driving in full speed and luckily didn't crash. Anyways, our player's wife told him that there was a restaurant nearby, which I noticed instantly. I parked the car very gently without any crash, got out of the car and noticed some bird shadow coming from the sky. Even though there were no birds in the sky, I heard their noises but still couldn't find them, which was very weird to know that shadows work before the objects in this game. Anyways, I entered the restaurant, took a seat next to my car outside and ordered a cheeseburger with a strawberry slush. Then I started destructing the restaurant and I felt pee doing that. So, I went to the bathroom, took a look in the useless mirror and started peeing. And just like before, I had to watch myself peeing, which was a shame. Anyways, I went back to my seat, the food came in and I started eating the food. Then I remembered that I forgot to wash my hands. By the way, I still finished my food, paid the bill and messaged Kayla that I would love to learn the art of cuisine. Hearing that, she became excited and promised to give me a food recipe later. Anyways, now that I wasted a lot of time in that restaurant, it was time to head back to my job again. Before I went back, I took a short moment investigating the mystery of bird shadows but still couldn't find them. Then I quickly went back to my car and drove until a black screen appeared. After driving for a long time, it was 8:02 p.m., and I was very near to my destination. few seconds later, I noticed a tower. Considering that my destination, I parked my car there without causing any accident. Then I said goodbye to my car, head to road walking, and noticed that the gate was closed. I didn't find anyone there to open the door for me, but I noticed their board with some missing posters, which gave me the feeling that something wrong was going on in this forest. But again, I have bigger jobs to do and I have nothing to deal with that. I took a look at their map and warning posters, but the most important thing was I had to open the gate. I went to the control room, opened the door and anyways, I told him that he scared me. First, the ranger person known as Billy in this area thought I was a camper, but I told him that I was here to work in the forest. He didn't believe me at first, but after a quick check, he understood that I was here to work. So he told me that I was here to work in Tower 11, gave me the tower keys, went outside and opened the gate. Then he gave me a flashlight to see in the dark, welcomed me to my new job and told me to do the weather report every day before going to bed. He also told me that Tower 12 will be my nearest tower and the only friend I will have there. Then he suspiciously told me not to go more than half mile north from the tower. I asked him why, and in reply he told me that it was just to sincere me about the wild animals from the forest. Even though he was talking very suspicious, I believed him because he looked very serious in his job. Anyways, since the gate was open, nothing could stop me from entering the forest. However, I forgot to take my bag from the car, so I went back to get it. I took the bag and walked into the deep forest until a black screen appeared. It was 11:32, which meant I was walking for a few hours somehow. Anyways, I reached near to my tower. I crossed the bridge and I could already see the tower from this distance. However, when I reached it, I realized it was just a radio tower and there was no way I could live in there. So, I walked a bit further and found a road sign, which showed that Tower 11 was in the left. I took the left path and finally saw the actual tower where I was supposed to live in. I went close to it and found no one nearby, which meant I was completely alone. Then I found a generator and started it to bring some power in my tower. Then I ascended the top of my tower and found my neighbor Tower 12 from a long distance. Anyways, I used my keys and went inside, turned on the lights and realized it was small but a really nice living place for an alone person like me. I put my stuffs on the table and tried to take some sleep. However, I remembered that I had to do the weather report before going to bed. So, I sat down and turned on the old computer. The computer turned on and it seemed like I was using Rainbow 98 OS, which was basically the pirated and changed version of Windows 98. However, I needed a password to unlock the system. The hint told me to check the Ironbark rules flyer. So, I did, but the texts were very small to read. So, I used the binocular to zoom in. I read the text and it gave me another hint for the password. Then I figured out the password, typed in and it worked. It almost felt like hacking into a system. The computer finally turned on and I was completely sure that it was Windows 98. The OS had few apps, such as a map viewer, a service reporting app, a game, and most importantly a console. Then I opened the weather reporting app and it needed few information before submitting. And when I was about to do that, a voice came out from the radio. Turned out that Tower 12 was trying to talk with me. He told me that his name was Connor and told me to lit the fireplace and make some fire because a storm will arrive at night. However, there were no wood in the fireplace. So I told him the situation and he told me to get woods from the storage shack downstairs and the gasoline is already here. Before going downstairs, I zoomed in his tower with the binocular to check if he is spying on me or not. After checking that, I went to the storage shack, gathered some woods and walked upstairs again. I put the woods in the fireplace, poured some gasoline on the woods and dropped some of them on my floor. I safely used the match and fireplace was lit. Then Connor saw the fire and told me to finish my weather report as it is extremely essential before going to bed. So I opened the reporting application again and the form needed today's temperature, wind speed, weather condition, number of hikers assisted and the name of the reporter. Then I started gathering the information. I checked the wind speed, which was 20 knots. The temperature was 44.8 degrees Fahrenheit. I checked the weather condition, but I couldn't tell it specifically. So I gave a random one and hoped that it would work. I also didn't know how many hikers I helped. So that was random too. Then I put my name and submitted my report. Then it gave me a current reporting list, where I could see everybody's progress. where I checked mine and Connor's. It also seemed like few people hadn't reported yet. Anyways, my job was done. I closed all the window boards, turned off my lights and finally got some sleep. However, I couldn't sleep for too long. In 3:26 a.m., at the dead of night, I woke up hearing some sounds coming from the radio. I replied, but nobody answered my call. I had to pee, so I went outside, but the player was feeling uncomfortable to go outside in his first night. So I had to pee standing top of the tower, which was even more awkward, because imagine, someone was standing down at that time. Anyways, I went back to sleep and this is how my first night ended. Next morning, I woke up luxuriously, standing in one corner of my tower, enjoying the beautiful sunrise with a cup of coffee, having the most beautiful morning of my life. And I also had a camera, and so I took some pictures. Anyways, I finished my coffee and it was time to get back to work. And speaking of work, Connor got the perfect job for me. He told me that he noticed smoke coming from my north direction. He told me to check that out. I went outside and noticed the smoke and reported him instantly. He told me that it was an illegal and dangerous camping site. Besides, fire risk was very high that season. So, he told me to bring my bear spray and check on those campers. Then I hopped out of my chair, took my bear spray, descended the tower and went back to the road sign. Then I chose the north trail, sprayed the bear warning sign and walked along the trail until my screen faded. I spent the whole day checking and cleaning the smoke. Then in 8:37 p.m., I was heading back to the tower, when suddenly, I heard an inhuman scream. So, I ran back to my tower. It was 9:07 p.m. Our player couldn't understand what happened back there. So, I went back to my tower, climbed it and instantly reported the incident to Connor. But first I told him about the campsite. He was angry and told me that it was the third time he found a campsite on that area. Then I mentioned the scream I heard. He told me that foxes sound like screaming ladies at night, but I told him that it was a manly scream. Hearing that, Connor had no idea what I was talking about, but he told me that many people had been flocking in that area after the disappearance of those 3 kids. I asked him about the missing kids and he told me that few months ago they had been hiking in the North Trail with their families, when suddenly they vanished. No more sign of them after. I asked him if there were any clue found about those kids. Then he told me that some whistle lead them to the North Trail, which kind of creeped me out because I could already hear a whistle at that time. Connor told me that some people said that part of the forest was haunted, but he also said that he would contract the authorities to take care of my problem. Then I went outside to see who was whistling, and when I came back, the player's wife finally gave us a recipe for a dish. The dish was looking delicious, but I couldn't reply any message as there was no signal in the middle of the forest. Anyways, the dish made our player very hungry and I had to prepare it. So, I gathered all the ingredients first. First the uncooked pasta, then the marinara sauce, then mozzarella cheese, then some pepperoni and at last the diced tomatoes. After gathering, I mixed all the items. And meanwhile I do that, let me tell you about today's video's sponsor, the subscribe button. I know some of you watching my videos aren't subscribed yet. Let me know you that making a video, scripting them, editing them, rendering and publishing them takes a lot of time and pressure. So, if you appreciate this video or like it or you want this channel to improve, make better videos, success, and shine brightly in the future, press the subscribe button, press the like button or share this videos to your other friends. Because it really supports the channel, and that support can inspire the channel to improve and make better content each and every episode. So, support this channel. It's not that hard, and I am not asking money from you. Just give that red button a press and make it white. Also be sure to turn on the notification bell because who knows when I will upload my next video. I will appreciate it. For now, thanks for listening to my conversation and let's get back to the video. It was finally time to put it in the oven and wait. Then suddenly Connor signaled me through the radio and told me that he reported the authorities about the situation. Then he told me to report for the night and went to sleep. Then I started doing my report. First, the wind speed was 19 knots this time. The temperature was 48.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Weather condition, still unknown. Numbers of hikers assisted is random. Entered the name and submitted. I saw the reporting list again. Checked me and Connor's report and it seemed like more people than yesterday hadn't reported, which felt a bit specific to me. Anyways, the food was ready by then, and it was time to sit back, relax, and enjoy the food. I ate half of the food and put the other half in the refrigerator for future. Then I went downstairs to get some woods and lit the fireplace again. I closed the boards and turned off the lights, and it was finally time to end the night. However, it wasn't easy. I woke up at 2:27 a.m. and I heard some noises outside. I got up and suddenly noticed something moved outside the window. I became scared of the situation as I had the option to hide under the bed. So I hid under the bed and my microphone was disconnected. Few moments later, the noises were gone and I had to check outside. So I took my bear spray and torch. As I was prepared to go outside, I opened the door. I found no one but a strange object. I used the binocular to examine what the object was, and it looked like a skull of the devil with some candles blowing down. It almost looked like some kind of ritual. As I was anxious, I woke up Connor and told him about this ritual thing. But he became angry on me because I woke him up at that time. He told me that it was just some kids playing pranks on me. He told me stay out of it, which didn't make that much of a sense. But that thing didn't feel safe for me. So, I tried my best to forget about it and end that night. I went to bed and the night ended. Anyways, next morning our player actually almost forgot about what happened in the last night. But we all know that last night was real. He suspected that something darker was going on in that forest. To figure it out, at 8:34 p.m., he decided to investigate the forest through the night. It seemed that when I used my binocular, the forest looked more darker than it usually was. But then I realized my binocular was just unclean and everything was fine. So, the forest looked a bit darker. Anyway, I cleaned the binocular, and just before I finished cleaning it, I saw something that I never saw in that forest before. A firework came out of nowhere and it seemed like someone was trying to give message to someone. I had to tell this to Connor immediately. However, when I was going to do that, Connor replied to me instead and told me that he was lost hiking at night. So, he fired some flare guns to catch someone's attention. I had to help him, and talking to him for a few moments and guiding him through the path, he finally reached into a trail section where he couldn't decide which direction to choose. So, I turned on the Ironbark trail map to figure out where he was.
1 hour later.
Hello? Are you still there? Both of these trails seem pretty similar. I'm just so anxious about making a mistake and going further away from the road. Please help.
6.5 hours later.
After a lot of thinking and guessing, I couldn't figure out where he was. The map was too big for me, so I randomly told him to choose the right trail and hoped that he was in the right path. Unfortunately, he wasn't. After going to the right path, he found a person whistling from a distance and thought that he was me. But as I was in the tower, it gave me the red alarm that he was in grave danger. I instantly told him that wasn't me and tried to save his life. But suddenly I lost signal with him, and after that someone started to knock my door. I thought it might be Connor, but I wasn't sure because I couldn't look outside. It could be the whistling guy who came here to kill me. So I decided to just leave it as it is until he gave up and leave this place.
1 eternity later.
Unfortunately, a long time passed, but he kept knocking at my door. So, I had to give up and let the game choose what would happen next. I opened the door and saw that it was just Billy. What a waste of time. Anyways, he told me that he was here to check on me and give me my weekly supplies. He also told me that he saw me going to the North Forest the previous night. I told him about the situation. Before he left, I told him about the skull I saw that night. He told me to show the proof, but unfortunately, I didn't have any proof. So, he didn't believe me too. I thanked him for the supplies and he left away. Then I was pretty confused about what happened to Connor and tried to reach him, but no one replied, which gave me the clear sign that Connor was dead. Then I became very hungry and left the food in the oven to heat. In the meantime, I started doing the essential weather report. Firstly, the wind speed was 27 knots. The temperature was 55.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Bit warmer than yesterday. I chose the weather condition to wind this time. Numbers of hikers assisted. I gave 1 for Connor, even though I don't know he is alive or not. I wrote my name, submitted it, and checked the reporting list again. But this time, Connor was not in the list. At that point, I started to realize that people were gone missing each and every day. Today, Connor gone missing. Soon it might be our turn too. And I slowly started to feel uncomfortable. So I started eating my food to remove that feeling for me. Anyway, it was feeling cold. So I closed the boards and head to the storage shack to gather woods as fast as possible. Anyways, suddenly a person appeared even though he knew it would give me a heart attack. I asked him about his identity just to know if he was camper or someone. He told me that he worked in the nearby radio tower here. He came every Sunday to maintain the tower and keep us online. The person seemed innocent first, but suddenly he started talking completely out of topic, like some fires are meant to burn, and no amount of prevention can stop it. Nature has its own plans. Some things can't be controlled, no matter how hard we try. And sometimes, disasters are just another form of cleansing, a way for land to purify itself, which was pretty weird to me and didn't make any sense. However, what was actually suspicious though, before he left, he used my name even though I never told him my name, and told me that curiosity can lead to places you would rather not go, which was so suspicious that I was definitely sure that guy was hiding something from me. Anyways, that guy left. I took the firewoods and lit the fireplace. Then I was about to go to bed when suddenly Connor started talking with me through the radio, and I was sure that he was alive. I instantly started talking to him. I told him that I ran into the radio station worker earlier that night. But what he told me was a bit shocking. He told me that the radio tower closed down a long time ago due to a lightning strike. Its repair cost was too much and still not repaired yet, which almost freaked me out knowing that he was not a radio station worker and he knew my name. I was suspecting that he was listening our radio conversations. Connor told me he was playing pranks with me and told me to calm down. He told me that disguising as a staff member was strictly forbidden, so he told me to take an ID card and photo if I met him again. Anyway, I was happy that Connor was still alive. Then I signed out and went to bed. And this is how 3 nights were passed. Next day, our player was not feeling that good about everything. He thought he was going crazy and he needed to get used with the environment and the people around that place. Then nothing interesting happened in the next 2 nights. However, next night at 9:18 p.m., it was raining outside. Suddenly Connor gave me a good news that there was new system update in the computer. It was a really important security update that would keep the hackers away from listening our conversations. I was glad to know that and happy to finally use the computer console. To upgrade the system, I had to simply type 2 commands. First, the check updates command. Then the update command. Enter the package code and type the available service number. And this is how the update process started. I was excited to use the new updated version of the system, but the generator found the worst time to run out of fuel. The power was out and it was raining outside. In that condition, I had to go to storage shack, take the fuel tank and refuel the generator again. I was a bit anxious that anything horrific might happen. So, I did the whole process very quickly, but for some reason, our player had to pee in the worst time. So, I entered the bathroom, closed the door, and realized that the bathroom could also be used as a hiding spot besides bed, which might be handy in our future. Anyway, I finished my pee and went upstairs again, and this is how that day also ended. Then 1 week passed somehow. Time was flying by. Connor's generator was under maintenance, so our player had to go to his tower to talk to him, unless he would just talk to himself. Then one night, I woke up at 2:34 a.m. Connor was shouting through the radio for some reason. I got up to know what happened. He became very angry and told me that while he was having problem with the generator, he is seeing more smokes coming from my site at the forest. He told me to take the camper's photos and ID and call the HQ for this. As he was very tired that night, he told me to handle the whole situation all by myself. I went outside and noticed the smoke very close. I couldn't see the camp from there, so I took my binocular and zoomed in. But what I saw was not a camp at all. A group of people dressing like the devil were burning a body and doing some kind of ritual. Whatever it was very creepy and I had to get an evidence to bust these bad guys. So, I pulled out my camera, zoomed in again, and took a nice shoot of the moment. Unfortunately, I forgot to turn off my flash and all of them saw me taking picture of them, which was a huge grave mistake. The situation couldn't go any worse and they already sent a hunter to hunt me down. And he was right under my tower. I threw my binocular off the tower, closed the door, and instantly hid under the bed. The hunter climbed my door and started breaking my door. He managed to break the door and the music suddenly stopped. Fortunately, I disconnected my microphone, so he couldn't hear me making noises. He stepped right next to me and suddenly the situation started to feel more dramatic. Luckily, he stepped further outside and it was the perfect chance to run away. So, I wasted no time and started running like a marathon racer. He was right behind me, so I decided to hide in the bathroom instead of running away further. He came down and started looking for me. Finding me nowhere, he decided to look at the storage shack, and I took that chance to run away as fast as possible, get into my car and never come back. I finally got out of the forest to the parking area, but unfortunately, he found me right there. He was right behind me. I ran with my life to the car. Opened the door, got into the car, closed it and hit the gas as soon as possible. Our player managed to drive the car in the nearest ranger cabin. Out of their sights, he reported the situation to the HQ, but his boss didn't believe him. Next day, authorities ran a small investigation on that area, but they didn't find any evidence. No one ever believed in his story again. His boss offered him to just look out for fires. However, that was the last time he stepped foot on that forest. The experience is still vivid in his memories. Even his family didn't believe his story, but we all saw what happened. Real or not, after dark, these woods can become a haven for illegal activities. So, if any of you plan on going camping soon, please be safe. And that was Fears to Fathom, Ironbark Lookout. The game was really amazing. It had really good graphics, really good details, and I had a great time playing this. I mean, all the Fears to Fathom games are amazing and a recommended thing to check out. Also, I took a long time playing this one too. I have been playing for about 6 hours, even though I was supposed to play it under 2 hours. However, that was the last Fears to Fathom Rail Studios has made. I know there will be more episodes of this game soon, but I think I will end playing this game right here, because I should start uploading about other contents too. Pause this what this channel is all about. Right now, I will take a break from playing games and start making my own games. My first game development video should arrive in few days. I am not sure, but it will arrive for sure. So, always stay tuned by turning on the notification bell for any new updates. I will end this video right here. As always, like, subscribe, and share the video, and I will see you in the next one.